So Drew, it's great to meet you. Chuck Holmes.
Drew Francis.
Drew. I have been in Birmingham all of about 4.5 months.
Okay.
And it's great to meet you. I've been making my way around the community trying to meet lots of people to get a sense of what Birmingham's like and what Birmingham wants from a public radio station. As the new GM of WBHM, I need to know the city I'm living in, but more importantly, I need to know how the station should serve the community, because that's what it's all about. That's what its mission is. And tell me about the Red Mountain Theater Company.
Well, I think I've made up a title for myself. So I'm the creative marketing director at Red Mountain Theater Company. Part of that is because I do a lot, if not most, of the design that involves in how we promote a show, and then and that's video or graphics or web. But then I also do the strategy of how, I guess how we sell that show.
Right.
And we are, we were talking earlier. We're 30 years old,
right.
And so there's a long history of kind of theater in this town. So we take that, I think, very, I guess heavy, because there's also a lot of theater. I mean, all the way down to south of 65. I mean, there are theaters in little pockets everywhere, and so we're just a great part of that fabric of the community and arts. And we are, we've got 20 employees. We continue to grow. People are always surprised, how many people work there. And then, all of our actors are professional actors. Everyone gets paid. Like it is our distinctively Birmingham and definitely Broadway kind of thing for us.
That's great.
So that's kind of us and kind of what I do.
I'm looking forward to. I haven't had a chance, obviously, to take advantage of your services.
I know.
Looking forward to it.
And you told me that you were a theater.
I in college. I taught the boards occasionally, in addition to studying journalism, and decided to go into journalism. Spent most of my career in newspapers with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and then made the leap to NPR. And I was at NPR for the last 8 years before coming to Birmingham. And it might not come as a surprise to you that the question I've gotten most since I got to Birmingham was, why did you come to Birmingham from Washington, D.C. and NPR? And the answer is, my wife and I wanted a comfortable, livable city. Birmingham certainly fit that bill. We're both from the South originally, so Birmingham fit that bill. And there's a public radio station here that is so good and has so much promise to sort of fulfill the public radio mission, which I believe in, having worked at NPR, to sort of make the community better, make the station better. I'm just really excited to be here, and we have been, as I like to say, we have been warmly received in our few months here, and we have been extremely well fed in our few months here. Birmingham's got the restaurants, that's for sure.
It's funny because people say that when we were moving back, because I moved here in 2000, left in 2014 and came back. And they're always, you're leaving Asheville, North Carolina.
North Carolina, great town.
Leaving there? And I always say, it's the people, because just the people that I've met here, and it's a different town.
Yeah.
Like in 2000, I lived close to where we are now, 2nd Avenue, and at 5:30, 6 o'clock, I could go running down the middle of the street, and I would go jogging, and I would just run down the middle of the street because it was empty.
Right.
And now, 16 years later, I mean, from baseball to 2nd Avenue to even our theater, the stuff we do downtown. I mean, it's a different town.
Right.
Some say beer did that.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
That's okay.
Why this town is different, because even I remember going to the first brewery here, and it was a dungy, nasty place, and it to me, watching the transformation of this city, I think, is the thing that why I'm still here. I don't live downtown anymore. I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
So
we understand.
I drive about 45 minutes out of town. Not because you can't have kids. It's just where we ended up.
Yeah.
But for us, it's definitely, it was the people that brought us back. But just seeing the change, I think, in the city, it's really. I mean, it's fascinating. People all over the country, when they come and they go, I never knew this is what
no,
Birmingham-
that's exactly right. In fact, just this week, I had two visitors from NPR, two executives from NPR came down for a visit, their first trip ever to Birmingham. And I'm driving them around, and I took them to lunch, and they were like, we get it now. We get, we get why you moved. We get, gosh, what a place, what a livable city, what a beautiful city. It's nice to hear things like that. And it's when I came down to interview for the job at WBHM. This was last fall. I hadn't been to Birmingham in decades. My father was actually born in Birmingham, and I visited here as a kid a lot. Never lived here. And so I got here. Looked around. They took me to one of Frank Stitt's restaurants for dinner. Showed just the dynamic stuff happening downtown with UAB and Children's of Alabama and Regents Field and Railroad Park and the restoration of the historic buildings downtown. It just all seems so exciting. The energy is great, and it really sort of drives me and my staff to want to make our radio station, our public radio station, as great as this city is becoming. We need to kind of keep up because because you're right, I think Birmingham is getting on the map, and it's getting recognized by lots of people around the country and internationally as a destination place for jobs and a great lifestyle and world-class university and great theater.
Yeah.
Right?
It's, I hope so.
Yeah.
What's this is just my curiosity.
Yeah.
What's next with WBHM? Like, what's the moonshot, or what's
So WBHM has struggles like a lot of public radio stations do. Nonprofit station, we depend on listeners and local businesses for support. Struggles with its budget. We've got a good, hardworking newsroom. What I would love to do, my intent is to go out, find more resources so we can expand coverage of Birmingham. I've heard from more than one person about sort of the lack of good news coverage in this town, and what's happened to the Birmingham news. I'm a newspaper refugee myself. I completely understand what that institution's gone through. But what I'd love to do is expand coverage and go out and cover communities in this town, businesses, the science and health industry that goes on in this town, arts and culture. We can do a better job of that. Really give Birmingham, connect to Birmingham in ways that the station is doing, but we just need to do more of it. So that's kind of priority number one. And the first step of that is just me making my way around and talking to people, as I said at sort of the top of our conversation here, talking to people about what they want from the station and what does Birmingham need and what are the connections our station needs to make to people to matter in their lives. So that's what I'm all about, what I'm after. So tell me about your job. What's the hardest part about your job?
And it may be a pressure I put on myself in the same way we raise funds, we sell tickets, those are an important thing. But I always kind of look behind that there are 20 individuals counting on the success of the things that I do in getting people to come to these shows, that they can fulfill the things, fulfill their dreams. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't come from a theater background. Right. I was a creative director for years. That was kind of my lane. My wife is in theater. She's a big actress, and so for me, watching. But I was always a lover of arts. So watching people who never thought that in Birmingham you could be a stage manager, our resident stage manager, right? And that's what he does. That's his job. He comes in every day to do that. Or we have people, lighting designers, and we have set builders, and so to me, I take on that pressure of, in order for you to have your job, right, to have your place, people need to come to this show. Yeah, because we're not just we're not just a state funded, like we have to sell.
Right, exactly.
So I think for me, the hardest part is like that. If I see a show is slipping, if I see and we're never in danger of, like, if a certain show doesn't do as well as we thought, but it is important to me that the people that we work with are able to fulfill those dreams and because I am a lover of art, I like watching them be able to fulfill that.
Yeah.
So that's, that's a pretty hard thing for me.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge. But one that I'm sure energizes you and gets you out of bed every day to go do, right?
I've thoroughly, definitely today was different than, I've been in this job for 3 years than the first day of trying to, same thing, learn the city, learn who's who do I need to talk to for this, knowing people in the industry. That was kind of a leap because, I knew video directors. I could find that. Right. But to know, hey, Esther, I think there may be a story here. I don't, take a look and see if there's something there. Right. I never start with anybody I talk to just about the show topic. I always let me tell you about this person and what this show means to them. Right. And they're in it this year. Or let me tell you about these 3 characters and how close they are to who they're playing, because that thing happened to them. Yeah, I think that for me is what I've kind of had to, as the years go on, start to learn to tell what's the story behind the story.
Right. And something else as you talk resonates with me as I've made my way around Birmingham and I've talked to people about WBHM and tried to solicit their support for the station since we're a nonprofit. What I often say to business leaders and philanthropists is, if a company, a corporation, a big major university is trying to lure people to Birmingham, talent, they're trying to hire people. What do people look for? People want to know about the schools. Are their kids going to be at good schools? Cost of living and housing. The third thing is that intangible, and that is like, what kind of theater scene is there? What's the public radio station like? Are there parks? It's those kind of intangible lifestyle things that people really look for. My wife and I did when we were looking at Birmingham, right? What's the lifestyle like? What's housing like? What are the parks like? I'm a runner. Where am I going to run? I'm a theater lover. What kind of theater is there in town? I think that's the important thing that I feel like I need. Part of my job is to remind people in Birmingham that we're a civic institution, and we're sort of bigger than just the radio reports you hear every morning. We're an important asset to the city, and hearing you talk about your theater company, I think it's the same. It's the same thing, right? It's a jewel in this great sort of tapestry that Birmingham has become in terms of its restaurant scene and its downtown, and the vibrancy of the city sort of depends on people like you.
Is WBHM looking to add content like other shows or
we could. Yeah, we could. Again, unfortunately, it all comes down to money, and we would love to. The station and the staff that I've inherited is they're amazing staff, great people, really committed to the mission, with lots of aspirations about what we'd like to do in terms of expanding our news coverage. We'd love to create a daily issues-oriented talk show where we can explore issues in Birmingham, from politics to art to finance to whatever, just to sort of bring those issues out and let people in Birmingham and central Alabama call in and talk to leaders and listen to questions being asked of newsmakers in town. The station broadcasts jazz music and classical music in the evenings. There's a lot of people out there who have contacted me, and I know that they want to hear more. They would love to hear more music during the day. There are plans where we could essentially sort of create a separate second channel for music, but it's expensive, and it would take a year at least or two to achieve that effort. But it's the kinds of things we're looking for, and it's the kinds of things as I go out and talk to the community, the kinds of things I want to know how much interest there is and how much support I could muster for these kinds of initiatives. So that's kind of what I've spent my first few months here getting around and talking to people and sort of doing fact finding on my part to find out what it is people want from their station and what the station can afford to do in its current resources or what we need to try and achieve by raising more money.
Okay.
It was a great meeting. It was a great conversation.
Hey, it was
I can't right now. I'm going to go look at the schedule and find out what your production schedules are, and my wife and I will be in the audience.
Well, I want you to be a guest, so I'd love to reach out to you.
Okay.
And, I mean, this is an aside. Like, I'd love to reach out to you. We've got Dream Girls. It's going on right now, and so I will shoot off an email, and I'd love to see you.
Great, and come by the station anytime if you ever want to tour and want to look around.
Actually, I've never been. I actually would like to do that.
Good. Come on by. We'll put you in the studio and take your picture.
I'll Instagram.
Great. It's fun.
Thanks.